We're going to talk about Perfect Crown Royal School web novel. They released a prequel, so if this is divided into 2 parts or 3 or more, then at least it's complete. FYI, all the things we saw there on the show that happened while they were in school, they incorporated it into the web novel.
So let's start with, by the way, this web novel. This started in 9th grade with Hui-ju until the death of the king brother of Prince Ian. That's there at their royal school. Students are usually staying in dorms. But the prince is exempted. He was the only one who did not stay in the dorm at royal school. Then, the reason why the father of Hui-ju would call her greedy is because she would ask for whatever it is that Tae-ju gets. It's not because she's greedy, but actually, she just wants acknowledgement, since his father didn't want to give that acknowledgement for every good thing that she does. Everything she does, she just demands what Tae-ju had.
Then the students at the royal school, aside from royalty, are only few. Prince Ion and those nobles remain. That's why they entered their children who are chaebol. But there is still status within. In other words, if you are not a noble,
you're still different. Even though everyone is rich, they still have a hierarchy. The one we saw on the show, Jung-woo, the prime minister Min in the future, Min or Jung-woo, was the one who saved Hui-ju in the elevator. It was the first time they had ever been met. Yes, and everybody knows who Jung-woo is,
because he is the son of the prime minister and the grandson of the former prime minister, so it seems to have just passed his politics indeed, so he is well known.
And he's respected there. Why? Because he keeps to himself. He doesn't have a lot of friends, but he's good at what he does, so he's smart without even trying very hard. So what happened in the elevator when he saved Hui-ju? So in the web novel, Hui-ju trapped in the elevator, she screams for help, and when it was open, Jung-woo helped him. That's how they actually officially met each other. She did not let Jung-woo go, because the teacher would probably not believe her, being she may be an outstanding student, but she can be annoying, and she is actually still an illegitimate daughter, which matters a lot to them. And true enough, when they get there in class where Hui-ju will take the test, late for 30 minutes, she was still accepted immediately, because of Jung-woo, the one who told what happened to her, there in the elevator. People call Hui-ju at royal school the mad dog. Byun Woo-suk. He's very perfect with his character as Prince Ian, because in the web novel, he described as physically he shines because he has broad shoulders, he's tall, he's very tall, he's wide, and he's very handsome. He is great with academics, with arts, and of course archery as well. But what is always said, his father had him, that he has to be an example, but at the same time he cannot shine. So the grand princes or the second son cannot shine ever, because they cannot outshine the crown prince. Do not be too outstanding, but they cannot be lacking either. They should just be in the middle, always warm.
So the prince, he couldn't shine at school, although he naturally shines already, because everybody looks to him and they're in awe of him because of everything, but at the same time he cannot prove himself or what he's worth because he's really forbidden to shine.
So 3 became the name of Prince Ian, first, and his original name is Won, which we already know, and the second is Ishan, and the third was Ian. So when Ian gave him his name, it was in the novel. He asked his father, what did I do well this time? Because every time he shines, he gets demoted in name. The not so discussed on the show Perfect Crown is his older brother. His name was actually Won. He's very sensitive guy, very anxious, and he goes through depression, so he also hates crowds. He gives up easily. He's actually a very weak person, because maybe his father scared him. He could never stand up to his father, who's very powerful and very strict, to say the least. Yun Yi-rang, who became a wife, later on, of the Crown Prince Won, just like in the web novel. They have known each other for a long time, and are friends with Won, but Won never looked at her as anything other than just simply a friend.
So when Jung-woo saved Hui-ju in the elevator, Hui-ju promised to repay Jung-woo, so Jung-woo decided that Hui-ju will be his porter. What does it mean? When Jung-woo has an archery practice, Hui-ju will help him to load his belongings.
But Jung-woo can carry his own things, so what he did was just make Hui-ju carry his bows. In other words, Jung-woo just really wanted to be with Hui-ju. He always practiced once in a while, but after meeting Hui-ju and after making her carry the bow, Jung-woo would practice 2 hours every single day. It just shows that he wants to be with her because he has a crush on her. And because they are always together, people in the school started asking, why are they together? The 2 of them are being talked about, so they are being teased. What's happening with them? Why are they always together? The advantage for Hui-ju was that more people started to let go of her, because she was being bullied by them, because again illegitimate, and she is the mad dog of the castle. So the bullying towards her decreased significantly because Jung-woo was always with her, and they know that Jung-woo is her only friend, in a way was her ace. That scene in The Perfect Crown, where Hui-ju and the prince first meet, happened in the web novel, because that's when the prince started to become intrigued.
His crush on Hui-ju wasn't automatic, even though he was intrigued by Hui-ju and also found himself attracted to her face because, as what he said, that there is an ember in her eyes, as if she's a strong-willed woman. That's why Prince Ian liked her, and before that, he overheard that there's such a person as a mad dog of the castle at the royal school, but he didn't know who it was until he met her face to face.
Prince Ian never asked for anything from the school principal. Although he's the prince, they would do what he wants, and because of the disadvantage of Hui-ju, that she is not able to practice whenever she wants, the prince went to the principal and request, for the first time, which is to grant everyone the right to practice archery for that month before the competition. For the first time, he made a personal request only because of a girl, and because of that,
The king overheard what he did, so he was teased by it. And that's all for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the part 2. Annyeong!